church bells are ringing. It's the noon hour, and that means that I get to ask, what's the good word, everybody? Chris Smith, how you doing? He's on there. Well, hello and welcome everybody to What's the Good Word, brought to you by Park Ridge Living Magazine and Be Local Northwest Chicagoland Magazine. I am the publisher of both of those magazines, and I'm also your host. How convenient. I couldn't find anybody who would host it, so I thought, I'll do it myself. What the heck? Well, this is a live experience that will bring you information and news and conversations and laughs, we hope, with residents, local businesses, community leaders, and local non-for-profits. And we'll give you the opportunity to comment in real time. That's what we love about this. Let's check in now on Facebook. Mark says, this is your stage and vehicle now, right? Yes, and wait till you hear about my guest today. Talk about stage. I encourage you all to please share this interview on your Facebook pages and encourage your friends to tune in live to What's the Good Word at noon every day. And today, a real treat. We welcome a local comedian who's really been making a name for himself here in Park Ridge. He has been doing his stand-up. He's taken it from the local pubs and venues on the northwest side of Chicago to his front porch. So please welcome funny man, Scott Castellanos from Park Ridge, who's been sheltering in place at his home, as you can see. Hi, Scott. Welcome to the show. And
Julie, hey guys, how you doing? Thank you for having me. I love it.
You're so welcome. And sheltering in place, but social distancing also on his front porch. He calls it front porch comedy. Scott, tell us what's the good word today?
Well, the good word is we're hoping the sun's going to come out. We have no place to go but up as far as the sun because it's been down a little bit. But yeah, no, we've been trying to keep people laughing here in Park Ridge or all over actually because I'm just posting to YouTube. But that's kind of my goal is just to keep spreading if I can, and hopefully I'm doing that. It's well, kind of hard to work out material these days.
Well, you're on What's the Good Word. You definitely are. No, when we first heard about you, Scott, it was back in January. Your wife reached out to me. You got a #1 fan there, by the way. Your wife reached out to
everybody. Anything to get me out of the house.
That's what it is. Oh, she had alternative motives, huh? Well, she reached out to us because Park Ridge Living in February, we had a comedy night. We hosted it at Firewater, and we had some comedians lined up. We had not ever heard of Scott Castellanos. Sorry, Scott. But we're so glad that your wife had seen one of our posts and said, hey, I got a funny man. I live with him. Like you said, let's get him out there. So we said, why not? He's a local Park Ridgean. Let's give him a try.
You're right.
And I had no idea. We were taking a chance. We had no idea what he was going to bring to the table. Talk about pure faith, Scott, right? It's like, do me a favor, keep it clean, please, just a little bit. And then let's read the crowd. And you were the cleanest guy up there, but you were really funny, super funny. And in fact, great feedback from everybody. Everybody had a blast listening to you. And now we're going to do another comedy night as soon as this is all over, of course, this COVID-19 craziness. And you're definitely going to be back, right, Scott?
You heard it right here. I will definitely be back. I got to write a lot of new material, though. So.
Well, every night, like I said, guys, this is a local comedian, Scott Castellanos. You can check him out on Facebook and Instagram. But every night, well, at least for a solid month anyway, now I think it's every other day, right, Scott? He's been doing stand-up on his front porch. Making people laugh in this community at a time when we really, really needed it. So Scott, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into comedy.
Well, a little bit about myself. I actually went to Maine South High School. I graduated class of '93, go Hawks. Actually from the area, my wife and I, we've been together since 1997. So we weren't high school sweethearts, but we were friends back then. I was in the military in between. We got back together. Got married, had a couple of kids. We got a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old that are e-learning from Roosevelt and Lincoln Middle School right now. So we're local folks. Did the normal thing, just trying to chug along with the family. But then I always had an interest in comedy. Just always been a big fan of George Carlin, Robin Williams, Eddie Murphy, growing up, all that stuff. And I loved making people laugh. I was always kind of the class clown or the guy in the middle of the crowd, making everybody laugh. And I kind of fed off that energy. And I always wanted to try it, and never really did. Didn't really know how to get started, actually. And then one of our friends actually had a roast for his 40th birthday, because I got started way late in this. But he had a roast for his 40th birthday, and I thought, oh, this will be fun. And I had a blast just tearing him up a little bit at the old roast. It was my first time doing it. I had such a good time. I was kind of on cloud nine, and my wife was like, well, why don't you try something? Like you said, she's my number one fan. She was also the first one to push me out there. And then Edison Park had a small comedy club called Work in Progress Theater, the Whip, most people called it.
Oh, yes.
And
Unfortunately,
my
it
wife
burned down,
actually
right?
knew the owner. What was it? I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, it burned down a couple years back.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah, that one hit hard. Yeah.
you can't credit Park Ridge Living for giving you your first break, right? I guess. Oh.
Well, you guys did give me my first big set, my first 20-minute set. That was the first time I ever got one of those. So
Okay, we'll take that.
you guys let me, yeah. So you guys let me spread my wings and push it a little bit, and that gave me confidence, because I started getting a lot more bookings a little bit after that. And, unfortunately, we did the shutdown here, but I had a couple really, really good shows, good showcases right after that. But yeah, my wife pushed me out there, and I finally did. And, whoa, those first few mics were. You don't realize how hard 4 minutes of comedy is until you go up there and try it. And it was brutal for a long time. And still, when you're working out the material, it's brutal in the beginning, and then it gets hopefully better. People
Yeah.
start laughing.
And so you caught the bug, they say in the business, the show business bug, the comedy bug, doing a roast for a friend. So take us to the stage. When you're on stage, is that a rush for you? Are you nervous? Are you worried that the jokes are not going to come to you in your head? I know you've got a zillion jokes. Been watching you now for over a month, every night on your front porch, and I'm amazed at all the things that you've got in your head there, Scott.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be locked away somewhere with a rubber room after all this for all the crazy stuff up there. But yeah, no. I'm nervous every time. Every time. I'm just as nervous now. Maybe not quite as nervous as the first time. But for different reasons now. Now it's more, are they going to laugh? Is this crowd going to find me funny? Yeah, usually what happens is I'm a nervous wreck right before the show. I walk up on stage. As soon as I get that first laugh, I calm down. So that's usually after that first laugh is when I start calming down, and then try to read the room a little bit there. So I try to get a joke in that first, 20, 30 seconds, so I can get them laughing right away.
Now tell us what you do full time. This is not your full time gig, although it's definitely a very, very, definitely a part time gig for sure, which is probably more part time, more full time than part time, because you're probably constantly working on material. What do you do during the day? What's your day job?
During the day, I work in insurance for a pretty big company. So in sales and account management. So it's yeah, definitely that's definitely takes up the majority of my time. And this is I would say, a lot of 40-year-old guys, they still try to play, hockey or softball. They go out and do that. I do this. I'm not as athletic as them, but I can throw a zinger in there every now and again. So this is my thing.
Are you getting a lot of material from work or from people around you, or just the news in general? How do you get this material? How does it come to you?
My family gives me a ton of material. I'm sure any of you with kids that are married and live that, everybody loves Raymond kind of life, I get a lot of material. My kids are just a wealth of material. They're always doing something crazy or saying something wacky. And, I always say a bit starts out like this, you have this little nugget, and then, you try to draw it out. And then by the time you're done shaping and molding it, it's something completely different. But it always starts from just some crazy little thing that happens at home.
I see you have 2 boys at home. Is that right? Or are there any other younger ones that we don't get to see as much? You've put some videos out with the kids. I've seen those. They're hilarious, but I've only seen the 2 boys. Tell us about your family.
Just the 2. That's what I have, the 2. Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to add a dog to the mix now. We're on a waiting list, but I don't know. They might have flagged me for something. I have no idea.
I've seen that you've gotten some exposure too from different stations in Chicago and the newspaper. that all been like? And what are you hoping that that exposure will get you?
Well, I'm booking, hoping to get some bookings. That's always the key.
You gotta
Just to
pay
get
for
my
that
name out there.
trip to Disney World too, right, Carla? A wink,
Yeah,
wink to your wife.
exactly. Anything, anything that pads the bank account a little bit. No, um, but yeah, no, I'm hoping to get a little extra booking out of it. A little extra attention is always kind of nice to spread the word. But yeah, it's been pretty exciting. I mean, early on, the Tribune reached out to me quite early on, and then shortly thereafter, WBBM even reached out to me, and so yeah, it was kind of nice. I found out actually the guy who did the WBBM story lives fairly close to me, and he was walking his dog and just happened to see it one night. So
Oh, really? So
hey,
he was in the audience on the street. You're over on, can we throw out your address? Are you still doing front porch comedy through
so
the
so
shelter?
I'm on Talcott and Grove, which is about a block west of Canfield. So
Okay. And are you doing it every night? So I know that first month of sheltering in place, you were out there every night. That's a lot. Even during the rain and the cold, are you still doing it now that the shelter in place has been extended?
I've dialed it down because it got to be actually a lot of pressure. And then if I did miss a night for some reason, I'd get all kinds of DMs and stuff like that. What's going on? Is everything okay? Everyone's worried. Do you have the COVID-19? No, I'm fine. I'm fine. But yeah, no. So I try to do it a couple nights a week, at least now, like 2, 3 nights. Yeah, it is kind of fun because you want to encourage people to keep social distancing, but you do get the occasional walker by, and sometimes they'll laugh and give me one of those like, ooh, sometimes I get a laugh, sometimes I get a hurry up, let's go, 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 kind of thing like that. So
Too
it's
funny.
always good.
It's, well, in times like these, why do you think it's so important to keep people laughing, keep people lighthearted, and during these times? Why did you find it so
It,
important to be doing this too, especially during this time when everybody is behind closed doors and just kind of wants to be left alone, get through this, grin and bear it. But you said, nope, I'm going to take it out there and make people laugh. Why is that so important to you?
Well, it's important. Well, I'm not going to lie, there's a little bit of selfishness in there. I had to keep working out some of the material and I needed to find a vehicle. But I'm someone who, any time I've had ups and downs in my life and people around me, I found that just laughing just makes you forget about it a little bit and, makes you just live in the now and enjoy the moment. And I think it's good for everybody to do that. We have so much of our day that's dedicated to serious and all the stuff that's going on. It's nice to just take a break and laugh and just forget about all that stuff. But it started out simply as just me trying to work out some material because I didn't have anywhere to do it anymore. And then, I figured I'm up here. A lot of these businesses are closing down, the local businesses. So I figured, well, let me add a shout out to some of the local businesses. And that's been well received. I've been doing that every episode. I'm trying to remind people that one, if they're still open in some fashion, let's support the small business community. And then I also give a shout out to local comedians, some that are still putting content out there, whether it's podcasts or something like that. It's just a good way to spread the good word and and have some good karma out there too. I think
Yeah.
it's always good. People help me every step of the way, so for if it just adds a little bit of help, whether it's a laugh or a little pub on Facebook or Instagram or whatever for them, then yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
that's a
do.
good thing.
I must say, Scott, I do enjoy it when you do a shout out to the other local comedians, the comedians that I've never heard of, and I check them out, and I enjoy checking them out and seeing what they're all about. What about you? What other comedians? What comedians have inspired you? Like well known big comedians, like local guy Sebastian Maniscalco. Have you ever seen him? Is that one of the comedians that you enjoy watching?
I do enjoy watching him. I've never seen him live, but he's just a bundle of energy. I'm like, wow, I can't imagine putting out that much energy on stage. Growing up, I think the first comedian I really loved was probably I would say Rodney Dangerfield or Robin Williams, or one of the first two. I couldn't tell you which one
I
came
still
first.
old Rodney in you. I do, and
Yeah. Oh, no,
I do see that.
just like him, I don't know if I get any respect either. But hey, what are you gonna do?
Hey,
My
Scott,
wife's been social distancing me for a while.
all right, you're going to finish answering that question in a moment. I just want to take a quick break and let everybody know. Thanks for tuning in to our Facebook Live. What's the Good Word? We're talking to local comedian Scott Castellanos. You can check him out on Facebook. He's also on Instagram. You can see some of his front porch comedy actually all of it. You've been recording it all since COVID-19 hit, from your front porch almost every single night. So you can check them out there. And if you have a question, I'm going to quickly take a peek at our Facebook Live here. Ooh, we got quite a few people on here. Paul Bryan, what comedians do you like to watch? I think I kind of asked that. We're going to get back into that one though. And when you watch them, do you simply enjoy them, or do you go into analyst mode? Oh, that's a pretty good one. Thank you,
That is a good question.
Paul.
Well, I'll finish answering the first one. Like I said, my early ones were Robin Williams, Rodney Dangerfield, Eddie Murphy, George Carlin, probably the usuals. More recently, I'd say my favorite comedian right now is a guy out of New York called Mark Norman. He's definitely my favorite. Of the bigger guys that are out there, Sebastian's huge. You know, you have one of my favorites from a local guy is not local anymore. Obviously, he's rest in peace. Was Bernie Mac. Just the way that guy dominated the audience and the stage is something I'm still trying to learn how to have that kind of presence. And I watch him a lot. As far as watching, I'm a comedy nerd. I podcasts, all that stuff I listen to are all are mostly comedy related. But I'd say usually the first time I'll watch things more than once. So usually the first time I watch it just to kind of take it in and laugh and enjoy it. And then the second time I'll look at the little things, you know, what the timing is, how they're walking around and things like that. And then I try to break down their jokes a little bit and see if I can find the formulas and stuff like that. So.
That's awesome. Scott, tell us something that many people that you know and know you, maybe they don't know about you exactly.
Something. Oh man, well most people that know me, I would know this. I was in the Marines, and from '93 to '97, so I got to do a little traveling for that.
Thank you for your
service. I got to enjoy that. Oh, no problem. I enjoyed it. I have friends to this day, so many friends just from that alone. Hoorah, Devil Dogs, to all my Marine Corps buddies. Let's see, some other things that as weird as it may sound, and I am what you'd call vertically challenged, is what some people would call it. I love basketball. I love playing basketball. I love coaching basketball. I played basketball most of my life, even played competitively a little bit as I was an adult and all that stuff. So that's probably something people would know, especially if they saw me walking down the street and were expecting a taller guy as they got there.
Look out. You never know what's going to come out of there.
I got a mean crossover. Watch out. So.
Okay, so are you going to do, what's the schedule like for Front Porch Comedy for you for the next month? We're going to be sheltering in place till the end of May. Is it every other day? Do you have any kind of schedule, or is it just when the material comes to you, when you feel like getting out there? And typically, what time of night do you do this?
Well, I usually do it, depending on what time work, I'm able to skedoodle from work because I am working from home during this whole time. But generally it's about, anytime between 6:30 and 7:30 is when I do the recording. I'm trying to do it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or I'd say I've kind of dialed it down to Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll say Tuesdays and Thursdays because it's a lot of material that I've been putting out there. So I'm trying to get back and write and do some editing of that now. But yeah, I'd say Tuesdays and Thursdays are definites.
All right, tell us something that you've done with your family during the quarantine. What's your favorite quarantine activity, I should say? Besides comedy.
Besides comedy. and I've gotten them all involved too. They've definitely gotten all involved with that. As weird as it sounds, this is going to sound like the cheesiest, lamest answer, but we've been going on family walks just about every day. It's been kind of my lunchtime, and it's been the best part of it. We're all just talking and goofing around, and that's been the best. We're playing a lot of board games, stuff like that. But I think the family walks has been fun, and we've also done some landscaping. I moved back to Park Ridge a few years ago and kind of had a blank slate for landscaping, and we've been doing a lot of that. And I didn't realize that I was going to enjoy digging ditches and all that stuff as much as I can. So my kids and I have been doing a lot of that manual labor, so it's been a lot of fun.
Are the boys coming up with jokes that they're asking you, hey, Dad, how about this one? Try this one out tonight. Are they coming up with some material? Or maybe your wife. How's Carla? Is it a family?
Well, my wife is definitely the muse for me. She's definitely my muse. My kids as well. No, my kids definitely are funny. They definitely do a lot of funny stuff on their own. They came up with the skits that we posted the one night they take a self-defense class locally here as well, and they've been doing those like in an e-learning fashion as well. But they came up with all those skits that I posted on there. Yeah, so my kids are always throwing stuff out there.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, Scott, thank you for coming on What's the Good Word. It's been a great time having you on, learning more about you. Tomorrow night, you can catch Scott Front Porch Comedy. I don't, do you want to give out your address? It's up to you.
If you happen to be walking by, just disclaimer, I'm working out the material. It's you never know what you're going to get there. But yeah, I'm on the corner of Talcott and Grove.
Do you remember years ago, Johnny B in the morning, when you give the address, an instant traffic jam? Well, we hope there's lots of traffic jams in front of your house for weeks to come, but not too long. We want to get out of this quarantine, that's for sure. And we really look forward to working with you, Scott, and the next Park Ridge Living Comedy Night, that's for sure. So keep up the good work. If you've liked this program, guys, please like Scott on Facebook and Instagram. Please also like Be Local Northwest Chicagoland, Park Ridge Living magazines, and of course, again, do like Scott's work on Facebook and Instagram. And by doing so, you're going to enter automatically into a drawing to win some gift cards. One is to Play and Spin in Niles. Scott, did you play there as a kid? Play and Spin in Niles?
No, we brought my kids to Play and Spin though, plenty of times. Yeah.
Good time, right? Good time for the kids.
Oh.
They
actually have a little pedicure station there for the moms. So
it's great.
Or the dads, hey, I like a little mani-pedi every once in a while too. So.
Yeah, they got go-karting, great food, lots of video games, and so forth. So, and pool tables, guys, too, for you as well. So check that out. Play and Spin. We're going to give away a gift card to that, and also a gift card to Ay Caramba. You ever go to Ay Caramba, the Mexican restaurant in Uptown Park Ridge?
Absolutely.
Delicious Mexican and tequila. Okay, so definitely like all those, like Scott's pages, like Park Ridge Living and Be Local Northwest Chicagoland. Scott, again, thanks for stopping by. The latest issue of Park Ridge Living is out in the mail, and if you would like a copy, shoot me a message on Facebook or even on Instagram, we could also send you a digital version as well if we've missed you for this month. So that's coming out. I have a list of things I want to mention too. Oh, on Wednesday nights too. Scott, are you doing this? I know you are. Actually, I know you are. We're doing Luminaries, Unite with Light, for our healthcare workers, our first responders, firefighters, paramedics, doctors, nurses, all on the front lines, working, putting themselves really on the front lines there of this pandemic. So we want to let them know that we are thankful for all they're doing, and we are thinking of them every Wednesday night here in Park Ridge. Other towns, including Niles, have adopted the same program that we started here, 8 o'clock on Wednesday nights. Scott, thanks. I know you've been participating. I've seen your candles and luminaries out there. If you need more, or you need a luminary, if you don't have a candle in the house, stop by our offices at 132 South Prospect in Uptown Park Ridge. We're right next door. Actually, we're 3 doors down from Ay Caramba Mexican restaurant, and we'll be happy to give you a free luminary. All right, Scott, again, thanks for stopping by. Keep us laughing, my friend.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Hopefully. Thank you.
You will. And that's going to be our show for today, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow at noon for another edition of What's the Good Word. Be well and keep laughing. So long, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye. Bye, Scott.